Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Valtin Spahie. I'm one of the solution architects here at CoreALM and a focus build coach. And welcome to this webinar. I will be hosting this with my colleague Fisnik Vasily, who's also an SAP Solution Manager architect and a focus build coach. In today's session, we're going to go through SAP Agile project management using focus build, Jira, and Azure DevOps. Our goal primarily is going to be to show you how to execute and manage projects using these three tools together. So we're going to start talking about a little bit about CoreALM, so that way you're at least know who we are, what we do, and what services and products we offer. We'll jump into SAP Solution Manager focus build overview. Then we'll discuss Jira and Azure integration with focus build, and then at the end we'll do a demo and open the call for any questions and see if we can answer those for you. So to kind of give you an idea who we are, so we're a dedicated team of experts with focus on digital transformation lifecycle management. We have over 50 years of experience around this space, especially around SAP Solution Manager and all of the capabilities. We were founded in 2009. We're primarily known for very quick implementations. We have a proven record of implementing any type of SAP Solution Manager and using the Agile methodology to accelerate and have a quicker adoption for our clients. We're trusted by many accounts, and I'll share one of the slides with most of the customers that we've worked with, or at least a sample of them. As you can see, we worked with a lot of large customers that are pretty much known, and some of you might even be on this call that they've worked with you in the past on different capabilities. Some of the services and solutions that we offer. So primarily what you see on the left side is everything around SAP Solution Manager capabilities. So anything that has to do with process project management, as far as anything to documenting your processes, your process hierarchy, the process flows, and also monitoring those processes. We offer services around test management, ITSM, and change controls, anything to do with charm. Also around DevOps and Run SAP like a factory, which is an old term, but anything application operations, from monitoring your SAP if it's a technical and non-technical as well. We do a lot of coaching and implementations around focus build. So around SAP focus build, focused run, also Agile, ALM, and DevOps. And then last but not least, we have a few products, some of them which are integration to SAP Solution Manager and standalone. So we have a Agile Scrum board for focus build. So if you are executing any type of projects with focus build, we have an Agile Scrum board that you can deploy on top of SAP Solution Manager, which comes with a lot of features as far as the Kanban board, dashboard, and where you can execute projects in an Agile methodology versus standard project execution. We have a Jira and Azure DevOps connector, which this is something that we're going to touch base and show you a presentation and a demo today, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. And then we have a ServiceNow connector. So if you have ServiceNow for all of your requests for change and incident management, we have a connector that integrates SAP Solution Manager, Charm, and also alert management for ServiceNow. Last but not least, we have a cloud performance testing. So if you need to test any type of performance on the cloud, so we have an application that you can do performance testing, and also functional testing that integrates with SAP Solution Manager, where you can do any type of non-SAP applications in conjunction with CBTA as well. Our engagement models are turnkey solutions, which some of these that I explained here, all of these solutions are turnkey, where we can provide the software to you, and you can either configure it, install it on your own. We have time and material, and then fixed cost, and also managed services. A couple of words and partnerships. So just one of the biggest ones were SAP partner and SAP certified and run SAP implementations. And then for the Scrum board that runs with SAP Solution Manager focus build. So we deploy this on top of SAP Solution Manager, where then you can see all of your work items. But also in addition to that, has many other features like you can have bugs and you can have issues, defects, different types of items that are in addition to what you can do in focus build, which really it gives you that flexibility of what you want to use and when you do not want to use when you're executing a project. It has a ton of dashboards, such as burn down, burnout charts, where you can see exactly where you are in a sprint, or if you're in a wave as well. You can see your backlog, like your requirements, exactly what you're doing. Then you have a ton of other tasks like decision blocks, but we're not going to spend too much time into this. We do have upcoming webinars where we go deeper into the Scrum board and how you would utilize it for project execution. Another product that we have is a connector for ServiceNow and SAP Solution Manager that integrates with your that integrates these two tools together. So if you have any type of request that come from ServiceNow, that those can be converted into, or it can be integrated with SAP Solution Manager Charm, where you can have all of the approvals in ServiceNow, and then you can have in Solution Manager managing those transports directly for your managed systems at the end. We also have an incident management that's integrated with the Solution Manager. So at any time if an alert is raised in Solution Manager, as you are monitoring your SAP environment, it can create an incident based on the exception. So the purpose of today's session is we're going to go through what SAP Focus Build has to offer around delivering an SAP and non-SAP project in an Agile methodology, and then how we integrate the Jira and Azure DevOps as well. So really, SAP Solution Manager has been out now, Focus Build has been out for probably 4 or 5 years, and it's really a delivery platform that integrates all of the application lifecycle management for you to deliver a project all the way from requirement to deploy, or the term that they use, the requirements to deploy. So it's really a single source of truth for all of your project management activities. So the capabilities that it includes is project management, process management, requirements management, change, sprint, release, and test management as well. So with all of these 5 capabilities integrated together, you really are able to deliver any type of project, and it supports Agile and Activate methodology. Now, from a higher level, really Solution Manager, we like to think of it in 3 different types of paces, especially when you look at from an integration perspective or requirements to deploy. You have the fixed pace, which is primarily when you're already operational. It's only if there's an issue, you need to fix something. That's ideally where, an incident or something gets raised, and you quickly fix that, which ideally you would use some type of, either requirement, or if you don't, if it's some type of problem, it could be a defect that turns into a change, which you could use Charm to get that issue all the way, fix it, and get it to production. Then you have your enhancement. This is where for smaller projects, think of this maybe for your quarterly releases, where you still start with a requirement, but it could be somewhere more into a maybe technical requirement, maybe it's just an improvement request. And this is where you could use the requirements to deploy either in Focus Build or just standard Solution Manager to deliver these improvement requests. Last but not least, which the innovation part, this is where you have large transformation projects or a new solution that you're bringing in within SAP. And this is ideally what you want to use the entire portfolio of SAP Focus Build from requirements all the way to deploy. And this is where we're going to spend some more time today discussing how you can use all these different tools if you have Jira or DevOps that integrate with SAP Focus Build. The key terms that you'll see today is that we're going to look at the innovation part, which is we're going to look at the requirements, the work packages, which is really that functional body of work that's being delivered. And then you have the work items, which is more on a technical side. Think of it as on the build that's being delivered. And then all of this is tied to some type of major release, either one or many that you're using. Now, from SAP Focus Build has done a very good job as mapping to SAP Activate to deliver projects in a agile fashion, where you can use waves and sprints to really deliver small incrementals of software quick as possible. But before we even get to the build or the realize phase within Focus Build, there's a ton of accelerators that SAP Focus Build offers for you to utilize to jumpstart you to execute a project, where they provide different types of best practices, which is your entire process hierarchy of how in S4HANA, for example, and the process is executed in S4HANA out of the box. Now, usually what you do is you take those processes, you import them into SAP Solution Manager, and then you would kind of build your roadmap from there based on those processes, depending on what type of solution that you're looking for, because they have many of those processes. And this way, this is where you can kind of pre-assemble, meaning that you can build a system, let's say an activated system in S4HANA, which could be like a sandbox, where you could go and validate those processes that SAP offers out of the box. This way you can do all of your scoping, at least to see what you want to look to implement from an SAP perspective, or make decisions of what you want to deliver for that project. After you kind of go through that initial validation, you'll have a baseline build of requirements that you want to take a look into. This way, you build within an explore phase all of your requirements, depending on what you've selected to be delivered in the project. That way you can go through a solution validation and a gap analysis, or a fit gap analysis. This way you can determine what is standard that you could utilize out of the box from SAP, and what is that is a gap that's not in SAP that we need to either customize, or maybe we even have to bring a non-SAP system to deliver this piece that we need to for our business. Then at that point, we're going to go through once you have that backlog completed, or at least you're at some stage where you can go through and prioritize that backlog of requirements. Once you do that, you'll go through an approval stage, and then you'll go back and look at all of it, which is a workshop B, or think of a Delta design, where now, after we have the backlog, we know what the gaps are that we identified that are not part of the S4. Then we're going to go and design those. And this is where you create those work packages within SAP, and you have a pretty good idea now how many gaps you have, and how long your project is going to be. This way, this is where you can kind of scope your work. After you identify all of your functional items, you can start scoping your work for the technical side to and assign the work to your developers and configurators. At this point, you have your waves and your sprints created, because you have a pretty good idea of how much work you have to deliver. And then we get to the sprint execution, where this is now we're in that build phase, and really we're executing all of our works within small incrementals, short in time box sprints, and then we're going through different types of testing. And you don't necessarily have to follow exactly what SAP recommends from a testing perspective. So whatever your testing strategy and standards are, if you require any type of validation, or if it's just simple integration, regression testing, and so on, you would build and execute the testing. And then last but not least, this is when the on deploy phase, where we would go live and do a cutover. The good part about having everything in Solution Manager, once you get to the run phase, at this point, this is where everything that you've created during these 4 different phases when you get to the run, now all of that information is going to be in SAP Solution Manager, and you are going to own it as a client, which means that now you're going to start by switching gears into operations and probably most likely monitoring the processes or monitoring even the systems from a technical perspective. And then maybe now this is where you start even improving processes, because your project most likely will be a year or 2 years, who knows how long, depending on the amount of work that you're delivering. But the good part is that everything will be in Solution Manager, and you can continue to utilize the tools that SAP provides as part of a Solution Manager. And then at this point, you're not using Focus Build any longer. Ideally, this is where you're starting to use a standard Solution Manager like Charm and monitoring and so on. But if you have an additional project, you can always start back here again. An example project structure to deliver these scaled Agile projects and using the Activate methodology. Think of it that this project structure is within 2 waves, and each one of these waves has 3 sprints. Now, as you can tell on top here, this is your project phase, and then you have your prepare. This is your release phase, which is nothing more, just kind of it's a phased approach where it blocks you from not being able to do things if you set it to a different status. But I want to pay attention to this one where it says under wave 1. Usually under everything that we build under a wave, if it has 3 sprints. So at each one of these sprints, we're doing some type of technical design, we're doing unit testing, and then we're doing the build. And then once the build is completed, that means at the end of the sprint, we have all of the unit testing and so on. When we get to a point where all of our sprints are completed, this is ideal. We're going to do some type of single functional testing. And the idea is here that we'll do a single functional testing for all of the work packages that we have completed so far for that specific wave. And then at the end, we can also do an acceptance testing if required. If not, we're going to hand over everything to our release, which means that this is where we'll jump in for this specific wave into a functional integration testing and a regression if required. And at this point, when we get to this test wave, this is where we kind of freeze everything and we do a testing for this particular wave in here. Then again, this is for within our wave 2. So if you have another wave, then you will start that process again, where you're building everything for that wave, and then you'll do another functional and integrate. And in this case, if this is wave 2, at the end of the wave 2, we'll have to do a regression testing because we just brought new things to wave 1 as well. And then this is what we go live with both of those waves. Now, so Focus Build is going to offer you a project management tool where you can have all of your waves, your sprints. But in addition to that, it has a Gantt chart. You can add all of your project activities if needed within any type of decisions or any type of tasks. If you need to, we can add them to the project. And it's a bottom-up approach, which you'll have all of your start end dates. You can have resources, anything that you need to and it uses the UI5, so it's not WebDiv or anything in that nature. Now, from a high-level perspective, and that how the Agile terminology maps to the SAP Activate, as I explained in one of the first slides. So on top of here, what you'll see is that you'll have kind of like the Jira terminology, and then at the end here, you'll see that you have the Focus Build terminology as well. But you'll go through a fit gap analysis where you determine what's a fit, what's a gap. Then that's where you kind of prioritize all of your requirements. And then once you have that, you'll have a pretty good idea of what to create work packages, what work packages a gap is a fit. And all of these work packages are going to be assigned to waves. And if you're using Jira or an example on Azure, then any work packages will be mapped to a feature or to an epic of Jira or Azure. And then when you have your sprints, you can see you can have multiple sprints within a wave. This is where we're going to create all of our work items, and then our work items are going to be mapped to user stories or backlog items within Azure. And then as you can see, one work package can contain many work items, which means that this work package could have a work item in focus build at SAP, and it could also have a user story in Jira that's non-SAP. Let's say if you're using Jira for non-SAP items. Now, to the way and how the entire creation happens is we have I'm going to go back in here one more time. We have a process hierarchy where we determined all of our processes from a design perspective. For example, and we have a process flow, exactly how this is going to be executed within the system. And at that point, as soon as we identify a process that needs to be modified, either if it's a gap or a fit, at that point we create a requirement directly within that process so it links it. Now this process can have different types of documentation. So all of the documentation that's related to this process is going to be attached directly here. That includes your functional specs, technical specs, and your test cases, and obviously any other documentation that's related to that. In this case, the requirement can have one or many work packages. So you could have many work packages to a requirement. The work package should contain and it should have some deliverables like functional specs or interfaces and test cases. And then that work package can have many work items or one. And those work items, the deliverables will be technical specs or configuration documentation, depending what type of technical item it is. As you can tell, the work packages are going to be assigned to a project and a wave, and all of the work items will be assigned to a sprint. So in order to deliver a work package, we have to complete all of our work items within that sprint, and then that's when that work package will be completed. And if you have multiple work items that are assigned into multiple sprints that belong into a work package per that single wave, as soon as you're done with all of those work items and those multiple sprints, at that point, this is where that work package will be complete. This really just kind of gives you the ability to have different types of dependencies between the work that's going on. Now to jump into the Jira, SAP Solution Manager integration with Jira Cloud, we have created a Jira integration or a connector that integrates Jira and SAP Focus Build. The use case for this would be that if you are using Jira for different non-SAP items, for example, or even if it's SAP items, this is where you can integrate your Jira with requirements, work packages, and work items. So the way it works is that we have integrated requirements and work packages to epics, and then we have our work items integrated with user stories. So this way, all of the information is in one place. We have a couple of use cases. One use case could be that SAP Solution Manager creates Jira, epics, and user stories automatically. So when you go into SAP Focus Build, you can create the actual epics and user stories within Jira directly. An example could be that if you have a requirement up here that has SAP and non-SAP, once you create a work package, you could determine that one of them is for SAP and another could be for non-SAP. And then we would plan and report on both of these as part of the project. The second use case is that also Jira can create work items, work packages, and requirements directly to SAP Solution Manager. In this case, is once you create epics and user stories, we can say that we need to create a work package, a work item, and a requirement, and then based on this epic and the user stories that they have underneath, it will automatically create a work package, work item, and a requirement directly within SAP Solution Manager. So that is the integration that we have, and we'll show you a little bit more in the demo where it'll be a little bit more clear exactly how this works. Within our Scrum board, you'll be able to to create you will be able to display your entire backlog of the items that you have, but then you will also be able to create a a Jira item in here directly from within the Scrum board. So now in the Azure DevOps, similar to exactly what we explained in here, just the terminology is slightly different. It's where in here we have features and backlogs, but the integration works very similar to the same. We have an integration where work packages are integrated with features and also requirements. And then you have your work items that are integrated with your backlog in Azure. So these items are synced, so even the statuses are synced again at any given time. If something changes in Jira, it will automatically update the work item within SAP Solution Manager. The use case is the first use case is that you can have SAP Solution Manager to update Azure DevOps automatically. So at any time, as soon as you create a work package, it will create a feature, and then the work item will create a backlog. And then the statuses at any given time are sent back to SAP if there's any update within these backlog items and statuses. Similar for the work packages and features as well. And then use case number 2 is where you can create a feature and a backlog item directly within Azure DevOps. And at that point, as soon as you create that feature, and you can tell it to automatically create a work package within SAP Solution Manager, and will also relate it to and create a requirement for that feature as well, which will map it one-to-one. And also the backlog item will create a work item within SAP, and the status will be mapped. When you go to within our Scrum board, you'll get a view of your entire Azure DevOps backlog in here. And then you can also, you have a button in here where you can create new items. So if you need to create a new product backlog, or if you need to create a bug directly within Azure DevOps, you can do that within our Scrum board. In addition to that, if you just need to create a new item within the board, you can create a new backlog item from this button in here to Azure DevOps. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to pass the presentation back to my colleague Visnik, who's going to do the demo based on the items that we've showed you so far. And then we'll do at the end is we'll open a call for any questions that you might have. So Visnik, passing it back to you.
Hi everyone. Let me start the demo. Let me share my screen. Okay. Hope everyone can see my screen. Can you guys confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, Visnik, you may continue.
So let's start with Solution Manager with Solution Manager 7.2, SAP introduced this launchpad with priori, so Solution Manager user interface changed it, and it's pretty, it looks nice, and it's more like a role based. So if I go here as an architect, I have all these styles that I can use it, and to do the documentation process management, I will go in a solution documentation tab, and here it's not that I can just document the processes. It's more for process management. I can manage my processes from the build of the process definition until to the operation of my process. So I will have a 360-degree view of all what's going on with my processes. So I will have all the documentation, I will have the diagrams, if I have variation with a particular process, I will have all the variation, and everything is linked to the process or process step. This is starts with the scenario, process and process step, and the difference between 7.1 and 7.2 is in 7.2 is more, I have multiple layers before that I can create until I well define my process. And here, this is the process hierarchy. Process hierarchy is actual how I run my business, how's my business, how I'm planning to run my business, how I'm designing the process, and this I can move it into operation and production. So I can monitor in the when I go live with each process, I can turn on business process monitoring and actually monitor the process. Here I'm going to show you how I can go in and create the requirements while I'm still designing this process. How can I create the requirements for this process? For example, I want to create requirements for let's say for this process step. I go into a select the process step. I go into the element here, and I'm going to go click on the requirements. See, I have 0 requirements for this one. As the requirements management tags come in, and here I have all the requirements that I if I hadn't here, it all will show here. Now I'm just going to go and create new one, and I'm going to say this was manage catalog items. I'm going to put just the same name here as the requirements title. I'm going to put I can pick some of the key elements for requirements, like priority, who's the owner, some value points if I want, effort points. These are mostly used for reporting. And what is this requirement? This is a RISE-app. It's a fit gap. I will just call it a RISE-app, and I can call this one. Well, it's not an SAP. I will call this one Jira, because we're going to move this one to the Jira, and I'll put this description. What assumption remarks do I have? I can fill this with necessary information. I can just save this requirement. So I just created the requirement in Solution Manager that it's mapped to the particular element, so that business process. If I go to Solution Documentation, here I refresh it, I will have here one requirement that's linked to that particular process step. It will show that one requirement was added. I can go in and add more to that process step. So here you have from traceability, validation, and so on. I will have end-to-end. I can go back and see, okay, did I test this requirement? Did everything meet my expectation, right? And I can go now. I will go to Solution Manager backlog. This is our CoreALM board, and in here I will put myself as the owner to look for that requirement that I just created. This is another requirement view that we as the CoreALM built to simplify and use this integration points that we have with Jira and Azure DevOps. On here for the requirements itself, I can go in and I can send requirements for approval. And for me as an approver, I have to go in and approve this requirement. I can approve it directly from here without going to the requirement itself. And you say, okay, the requirement is approved. And we can see here the status is moving. So it went to be approved. It went to approved now. And now what I can do is I can go in and create a work package for this one. And here when I create a work package, I just think it's a work package in Solution Manager. It's going to be similar to an Epic in Jira or a feature in Azure DevOps. If we think Agile, then requirement. If we think Agile, then work package is going to be an Epic, and work item is going to be a user story. So, but in SAP contract, we call it work package and work item. So that's how we deliver the work that to meet all the requirements is necessary. So I can go in here in Jira, and now I'm creating a work package for Jira. I can pick myself as an owner, and I can priority. I can put the priority. This is a project that I'm selecting to be delivered, and I don't have to do anything more here. I can add more description, but I'm going to leave it like this. So the title is the same one. I can change it if I want. And now I'm going and I'm creating what I'm doing here. I'm creating an epic into Jira. At the same time, if we go and select it here, And here we have it went into Jira, created an epic, came back to Solution Manager, and brought the ID back. So if I click on this ID, I would have now in here, in Jira, will show me, okay, this is the epic, and this is the user story that it's related to this epic. This is the work item. This is the work package that just got created, and I can open it, the one in SAP if I click here. So this is the work package in SAP now that I created, that it's mapped to the one in Jira. So if I go into scope, we'll show the work package. So this is a work package, and it's on the status created. This is a work item in status created. The work package is in the status to be developed. If I go back to Jira, you see everything in the status to do. And I went into the user story, and I'm going to move it from status to do into status in progress. So when I do that, I go back to Jira, I refresh it, and I will pay attention to the status create. It will change to be tested. This is how we do the mapping. I can show you after I'm done with this. I can show you where and how we do this mapping. This is dynamically. We can say what status do we want to map, and also we have option to map also the field mapping and the project status field and all the details there based on your Jira workflow that you're using. It patches dynamically the workflow itself. And then from here, I can move it to done. And when I do it to done, I go back to Solution Manager, and I look at the work item status, because this work item is mapped to the user story, and the work package is mapped to the epic. Now I'm seeing how this will change. From here, it should change to successfully tested. Successfully tested. So this is from Jira. I created the work item I created the requirement in Solution Manager, and I created the work package in Solution Manager, and the mapping, and mapped it to Jira. So everything goes back to Jira, and in Jira I can go in and create this. I can go in and finish the work that I need to deliver that particular epic. And when I'm done in Jira, it pushes the status to Solution Manager, but also I can go in directly in Jira, and I can say, okay, create one for this one, for example, and push it directly to Solution Manager. I think I created that one before. Yeah, so let's put this one. And I can say, okay, now there's a description here too. So I can say push it directly to Solution Manager. So this is from Jira now, pushing to Solution Manager. Oh, go to summary. Okay. Yes, created in SAP and create. And this will go in to Solution Manager. We'll create an epic. We'll go in Solution Manager. We'll create a work package. We'll create a work item, and we'll come back to Jira, and we'll create a user story. So if I refresh this one more time, you see the broad ID from Solution Manager. Now, any minutes we'll bring also the user story that's mapped to this particular epic. Here the user story came. So now I can go back in here, and I can switch the statuses of this user story and the status of the epic, and also all the data will go back to Solution Manager based on the status of work that I'm doing in Jira will reflect into Solution Manager. So from the management perspective, I can do the work that's related to SAP into Solution Manager. All the work that I have to deliver with SAP, I do it with Focus Build. I build all the work package and work item here, but the non-SAP work that I'm delivering in that project, that for the particular interface or whatever I'm building, that's I'm building with and managing with Jira, I will push it to Jira and I will deliver that work to Jira. But during this project, I will have all the visibility and traceability to monitor and document even the work that's happening into Jira. I will go in and I'll also do the same thing for Azure DevOps. So we can we can see also for Azure DevOps. I'm just going to call it Azure. Myself as the owner here, and I can put a priority here and project, and we'll automatically pick the wave that we are in. I'm going to create it, and now this goes into Azure DevOps and creates a feature and creates a backlog item based on what did I see here. We have the work package Azure, and if I go into here, I have the ID that links back to Azure. So if I click the ID, this one will open the Azure, and click to here to Solution Manager one. So this one is mapped one-to-one here. This is the one that got created, but if I go to, and I can see the child that was created to that one, and if I go to the boards, I want to see in the board perspective. Okay, here we have the one, the manage catalog items Azure from the feature, and I want to see the backlog one. I have the backlog one here. Now let me go to Solomon. This one is the work package. This is the work item, and the work item status is on to create it. I want to move it in here from to create it into approved. So based on how the work is doing. So as a project delivery, we want to be easy to move these items. When we have meetings or we finish the work, it's just gonna track the work back to Solution Manager. So from created, we'll go in and push the status into development. And then I can go back in here based on, oh, now it's committed. Let me move to committed. And it will go back to Solution Manager, and we'll change the status. Let's see. So all these are automated. So every time I'm just throwing to see how everything flows together, but all these statuses are automatically get changed. You don't have to come to Solution Manager to look for anything. Everything will reflect automatically when you move there. See it to be tested, and if I get it done, it will go to successfully tested. So I would have anytime while I'm in Solution Manager, and I would see all the work. For me as a project manager, I would get the total visibility of how my project is doing. As a PMO, I will have my dashboard that will show me how my status of my project is. And for me as a daily Scrum for me as a Scrum manager, every time we have the Scrum meeting, I would pull up the Scrum board and go into the details about how the project is doing. Also, from here, same as there, I can go in, and if I want to create a feature to push it to Solution Manager, I will just say, okay, create it in SAP, and this will go back and get created into Solution Manager. I can go and actually show you that. It's called Azure here. Fine, save it. And this will go into Solution Manager, and it will create a new item here. Refresh it. No, I'm the owner. Myself here. And I will show here that yes, this one that I just created in Azure DevOps. I didn't enter much information in here because of sake of time for this demo, but we'll go into Solution Manager, and we'll see here. We would have, yeah, here we will have the one that we just created. But also what we can do here, based on the also the requirement, we can look at as a backlog view, but what's important here, the board. I want to show you the board. So this is the board for entire project. We can see what work item I'm delivering, what status of them, and I can just drag and drop them. For example, Material Ledger, I want to move it from into development and to be tested, and all it takes is just drag and drop. I don't have to go into the actual work item and change the status. For example, I just manually go into there and change the status from so this is actually to be successfully tested, but I would go in here and change the status of the work item in actual board. I can just drag and drop it, and the status will change automatically. So it just moved into Material Ledger, just moved into to be tested here. And what's important here also, I can view the backlog on the list view. I would have a detailed view of my backlog. How's my backlog view? And this is what's uncreated. I can see some of them that just got started to work on something on there. And what's on development, I can see the status, what's going on, who's attached, how many storage points they have, if they have value points, what sprint wave is it. And I can go into the work item ID. I can open them directly from here. And what's on testing, and all of them was been successfully finished. I can see it there. And from the backlog view, this is the backlog view, and I can view it here from the requirement. What's going on into there? What work package do I have? What processes? I can click on there and go directly to that process that it's mapped on. Also important that we have it in here. We have also the view, the board view for Jira and Azure. So this is the board view from Jira. This is the project that I was showing in Jira. So this is the Jira project. I can view this project directly from the CoreALM Scrum board, and in CoreALM Scrum board here, I can drag and drop these. I can create new ones, directly pick what issue type I'm creating and create it directly into here in the board, and will show up in here. And what's important is all these that says SAP here are SAP Epic, and these are all SAP Epic, not but user story based on the board. But I also can go in the backlog view, and I can push stuff from the backlog, put it into the sprint that I'm currently working. I can see also the epics in here, and this is the board view. But also for we have the same thing for Azure DevOps from Azure from the CoreALM Scrum board. I can see the Azure board, how's my project doing. I have here the master project from SAP and non-SAP, and then I can go view the individual like Azure and Jira, whatever integration I'm using, and how inside those projects, how those projects are doing. So. And I can drag and drop them. I can open and review and make changes directly in the Scrum board. For me as a Scrum Master, I can come in the morning meeting and go through the board, and I can make changes if necessarily the team didn't make it before. We also have a backlog view here, similar to Jira, and a board view. And what's also important, if you're on the project Agile, you can have tasks, decision blocks, and all these have their own boards and items. If I have, like, for example, here's project tasks, I have all the project tasks. If I have issues, if I have risk, if I have action items that are, and all these, I can link it back to work items that I have to deliver, or they can be also linked to each other. So, and you can link these also to a Jira. And if you have a block in Jira, you can create a block here for Jira. If you have a block for Azure, you can create a block directly for Azure in here. So you can view all this. Also, we have the reporting part of it. So if I go to reports, for the reports, I can view like my burn down, I can view my burn up, I can view my progress report and all the detailed reporting that we have. Also the traceability matrix. If I'm validated company, I can go also extend it when I want to see everything, how they map together. Yes, we can do that. I think we have time now to take some questions, so we don't get late. That was from my part. Veton, or team, who wants to see if there's any questions?
Can you hear me, Nick?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few questions in this webinar. So the first one being, do we need to enable the full focus build for requirements management integration with Jira, or just installing prereq is enough? And is it available in the Azure marketplace?
Okay. Well, we have two integration for Jira. If you want to use the Solution Manager to focus build from requirements to deploy, and you want to integrate Jira in the phase of focus build just on the build side of it, yes, you need to focus build. But if you want to use Jira just to integrate it with your Charm, yes, we can integrate Jira with Charm too. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and then Nick, unless I'm mistaken, I don't believe we're in the Azure marketplace as of yet.
Can you? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
It's not available on the Azure marketplace.
No, this is for Jira. I was talking for Jira.
Correct. Okay.
So to answer that second question, the Azure DevOps integration, no, it's not on the marketplace. That's because it requires SAP as well, besides just Azure changes or customization.
Okay. And then can requirement management integration with Jira be done independently, so without focus build?
It can. That's more from just a standard perspective. I believe Nick already answered that question, but yes, not what we showed in the demo today. We have a couple of clients that are currently and that have looked into integrating Jira with change management, which could be requirements management as well. If you're more interested to look into that, we would have to identify the type of requirement that you have, or what is the goal that you're trying to achieve in order for us to look into what the options are, and we can kind of give you an idea of what we've done in the past.
And then I'm going to ask one more question from the same guy. The board on SMSG, which you're showing, looks very customized. Can you speak a little bit how it can be achieved? It does look stunning.
So the board that we explained is one of the CoreALM's products. It's actually out of the box, meaning that you can deploy it out of the box solution. And it brings all of this together, which includes the focus build items in Jira or Azure if you're using it. Brings all of those items together into one place.
Correct. And another thing, hitting on the customization point, is you do have settings where you can determine what you want to show, what you don't want to show, and customize it further to whatever you need. But all those options do come out of the box. Another question. Thanks, Nick. So I don't know if you want to show that, Nick, or you want me to move to the next question.
Yeah, you can move to the next question.
So what's the level of effort required to be able to enable the linkage between Jira and Focus Build? Well, actually, just
again, so it's an out of the box solution, so not a lot of effort. Obviously, if it's Solution Manager and if it's Jira Cloud, from a network perspective, but those are just prerequisites. But as far as deploying the application, it's pretty simple.
What about traceability? I heard Solution Manager 7.2 and Focus Build provide complete capabilities between requirements and testing.
That's correct. We didn't show much on the traceability, but there's a ton of dashboards and reports that you can track from the point in time where the process and requirement was created to all of this relations to testing, execution, so build, and when it was realized into production.
And we have someone that's already installed Focus Build, but they're having a difficult time with adoption. Do you have any suggestions or guidance on how customers can successfully adopt Focus Build, especially for the functional work streams? Looks like that's the last question.
Absolutely. So a lot of clients that we work with tend to treat Focus Build very technical in nature. There's obviously some technical configuration that's required, but besides that, after it's deployed, most of the items are functional in nature. So that's where we come in and we guide customers on coaching how to utilize Focus Build, and we train depending on the role within the company. We train them on specific roles, how to manage and how to use Focus Build.
That's all I've got so far. I think we can call it good. It's hitting up on 3 o'clock anyways. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We will be doing another webinar next week. Then Rosemary, I see you have your hand up, but I didn't see a question from you, so I don't know how we can help, but feel free to reach out to info@corealm.com and we'll be able to respond to any questions you guys have. We can also do some kind of a customized demo for you and your company if you guys want to have specific questions. Okay. Other than that, like I said, have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week.